Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. There's been a major concession from President Biden in infrastructure talks with key Republicans. We'll take a closer look at that important news as well as important breaking news that is emerging today. Let's start with the Naomi Osaka, the tennis player who had to opt out of a major tennis tournament because of mental health issues. In fact, here's an important segment featuring the Olympian and mental health advocate Michael Phelps as he applauds Naomi Osaka. And Phelps says this, I quote, "She's putting herself out there, and I feel this really could be an even bigger breakthrough for the mental health world. This is something that really could help a lot of people." Folks, what Naomi did was she was nervous. She was not comfortable when it came to talking to reporters, and because she was fined, she decided she simply didn't want to put herself through that and decided to opt out of a major tennis tournament. Let's take a look again from Olympian and mental health advocate Michael Phelps applauding Naomi Osaka. Let's watch.
Like she's putting herself out there, and I feel this really could be an even bigger breakthrough for the mental health world. We think of everything we've gone through the last year. This is something that I think really could help a lot of people. So I was so happy for her to be able to share exactly what she wanted. And it said in the message that she loves playing tennis and she wanted to play tennis. And maybe that helps her feel like her authentic self. So
from athletes to governors and mayors, let's take a look at the New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio as he announces New York City will be parking vaccine buses at, I quote, popular nightlife destinations to encourage zillennials to get vaccinated. Let's take a look at the New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. Let's watch.
For zillennials, New Yorkers up to 25, we are going to meet them where they are. And a lot of times that means meeting them at a nightlife venue, a bar, someplace popular for people to gather. So we're parking our vaccine buses at popular nightlife destinations. And they've been already in Bushwick and Astoria and the Lower East Side and Inwood and at the Bronx Night Market. Tonight and tomorrow, they'll be in downtown Brooklyn, they'll be in the West Village. This will keep happening.
And in brand new information, and this is reporting from the Washington Post, President Biden has privately offered Shelley Moore Capito, the top Republican negotiator on behalf of the Republicans negotiating with the White House. He has privately offered Shelley Moore Capito, the senator from West Virginia, a new way to pay for the infrastructure plan. And this new way is a minimum corporate tax rate of 15%, seeking to take aim at dozens of profitable U.S. corporations. In fact, let's take a look at this headline on your screen from the Washington Post. Biden offers tax concession in infrastructure talks with key Republican. After the Republicans opposed a pitch to raise a corporate tax rate to 28%, President Biden pressed them for a position on the 15% tax floor. In other words, President Biden signaled at a private meeting that he would be open to significant revisions on the size of his infrastructure plan and how it would be paid for in order to win Republican support, in order to set up a bipartisan compromise. And the president outlined a plan for about $1 trillion in new spending financed through tax changes that do not appear to raise the corporate tax rate. This is a big compromise from the White House, everyone, and we'll have to wait and see what exactly happens. Now, both sides, the Republicans and the White House, are scheduled to meet again in the next 24 hours, and I'll keep you posted. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. We'll also provide you with a link to this Washington Post article in the description section below. So definitely make sure you check that out. But folks, again, this is a big compromise. President Biden is also suggesting that we use $70 to $75 billion of unused stimulus money to pay for some infrastructure spending. This is money from the aid that was passed under former President Trump, not from the American Rescue Plan this year. While President Biden is focusing on getting an infrastructure package passed, different states are trying different things to get people to get vaccinated. In fact, let's take a look at the Ohio Vax-A-Million winner, Jonathan Carlisle, who's an Amazon delivery driver. He said he was putting off getting his vaccine until he heard about the lottery. In his words, as soon as I heard that, I was like, yes, I need to go do this now. Let's watch the Ohio Vax-A-Million winner, Jonathan Carlisle, an Amazon delivery driver. Let's take a look.
I was waiting. I was putting it off a lot because I was just working all the time, and I just kept putting it off. But I knew I needed to get it, and I wanted to get it. And when y'all announced the Vax-A-Million, as soon as I heard that, I was like, yes, I need to go do this now. And I think it was 2 days later, I went to the Lucas County Rec Center and got the Johnson & Johnson shot.
And clearly, folks, this is part of a new strategy from the Biden administration. Let's take a look at this headline on your screen from CNN. Get a shot and have a beer. President Biden's new glass half full strategy is actually encouraging more and more people to get vaccinated. Isn't that incredible? In fact, Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, actually chimed in on this. And let's take a look at a segment with Jen Psaki where she says, free beer. That seems to be very appealing to the public, it seems. Let's watch Jen Psaki.
Free beer. That seems to be very appealing to the public, it seems, by headlines. Free beer. That seems to be very appealing to the public, it seems, by headlines.
In the meantime, let's see what President Biden has been up to. Here's some screenshots from C-SPAN, which actually show us that President Biden went out with Dr. Jill Biden for a Delaware bike ride. It's actually the 70th birthday of the First Lady. And the Bidens celebrate First Lady Jill Biden's 70th birthday riding bikes in Rehoboth Beach in Delaware. In fact, let's take a look at this little clip of the President of the United States waving as he bike rides with the First Lady of the United States. And the First Lady says yes when she was asked if she was enjoying her birthday at Rehoboth Beach in Delaware. Pretty incredible. Let's take a look.
Are you enjoying your birthday?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Are you enjoying your birthday?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And it's very clear that this increased flexibility from President Biden is actually encouraging more and more cooperation and could result in more bipartisanship. Here's a headline of an article on your screen from the Wall Street Journal. Biden signals flexibility on taxes for infrastructure. The president makes a legislative proposal in a meeting with Republican Senator Shelley Moore Capito, and the Senate Republicans are now discussing making a counteroffer. Folks, this is how governing should be done. Cooperation from both sides, not random tweets, not a haphazard approach where the Senate and the White House are not coordinated. This is the way things should get done. And I feel confident that we'll come up with a bipartisan compromise that takes the best ideas from both sides, because that is what the American people expect. That is what the American people deserve. And that is ultimately what will move us forward as a country. Here's an important comment from Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, and I'm quoting her. This should be completely acceptable to a number of Republicans who have said their bottom line is they want to leave the 2017 tax law untouched. We're also going to keep options open and keep a range of paths open going forward. This is very big, folks, because President Biden has indeed signaled that he could accept a narrow infrastructure package that did not include raising the corporate tax rate. And he told a top Senate Republican he wants $1 trillion in new spending and potentially exploring alternative ways to pay for the measure. President Biden put forward a $1 trillion proposal down from the $1.7 trillion he originally proposed, and he outlined options to pay for the spending that would not boost the corporate tax rate to 28% from 21% as he had previously proposed. In fact, Republicans have called any effort to boost the corporate tax rate or unwind the Republicans' 2017 tax law a non-starter. Could this be an important step in the right direction? It certainly looks like it. There's a lot of spending going on, and we need to come to some sort of a compromise because the Senate is split evenly between the Democrats and the Republicans. Top Democrats have said they are open to using reconciliation, though the entire party would need to be on board. And it does seem like President Biden's hand is being forced because he is not sure whether he can get the vote of the conservative Democrat from West Virginia, Joe Manchin. Neither can he get the vote of the Democrat from Arizona, the Democratic senator from Arizona, Senator Kristen Sinema. I do believe that has forced the hand of President Biden, and that is why the president is essentially saying, hey, we need to do it this way. In fact, let's hear from Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders said this, and I'll show you Bernie's tweet right now on your screen. If Republicans don't want to cooperate and help us seriously address the many crises we are facing today, then yes, we have to move forward without them to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure and create millions of good-paying union jobs. In fact, let's hear directly from Bernie Sanders in his own words. Let's watch.
The Republicans say they're on board with a lot of President Biden's plan when it comes to what they call traditional infrastructure, roads, bridges, airports, stuff like that. Are you and other progressives denying President Biden potentially a bipartisan win by including all of the other issues that you're labeling as infrastructure that Republicans say it's not really traditional infrastructure?
Well, Wolf, what I'm saying is, according to the experts in our country, the American Society of Civil Engineers, what the Republicans are proposing for traditional infrastructure is only a fraction of what we need. I think every American understands that our roads and our bridges, our water systems, all of that is really crumbling before our eyes. I'm a former mayor. And what I know is that unless you invest in infrastructure, it's only going to get worse and it's only going to be more expensive. We now have the opportunity to create millions of good paying, often union jobs, rebuilding our infrastructure. What the Republicans are talking about is totally inadequate.
Let me know what you think in the comments section below. I know what Bernie wants, but I think the political realities of this situation are such that the president is forced to compromise with the Republicans because he does not have enough votes in the Senate to pass this on his own. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.